Yeah. I know, yeah. Okay, so this actually happened a while ago, like several years ago. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, obviously. If you look at, like, half my collection, it's like Final Fantasy stuff. And I never stopped talking about Final Fantasy 6 and 4 and the old days, and I love the series, and a big reason behind that is because I love the music so much. Nobuo Uematsu is one of my favorite video game composers by far. I honestly go back and forth between him and Yasunori Mitsuda on which I like better. It really just depends on what game I'm playing at the time, because they're both so amazing. But overall, I would probably, as far as like just what means more to me, I would probably give the edge to Uematsu just because of the emotional component that I have with growing up with those Final Fantasy games and just how much the music meant to me growing up and playing those games and stuff. And so when I found out, maybe 7-8 years ago, that he was going to be at a convention here in Kansas City, I was super excited. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to go up and shake his hand and tell him how much his music means to me, and this is so cool, I can't wait. And I did. I got to. And it was an interesting story. Basically, I wish I had, like, for some reason, I didn't think to bring, like, any of my video game stuff at the time. I didn't have any, like, boxes or anything like that of the games or anything that I do now. But I had, like, instruction manuals that I could have had him sign or something like that. I did buy his CD for his band, the Earthbound Papas, and I had him sign that, which was kind of neat. So I have his signature, which means a lot, and I get to think of myself every time I look at this CD, because of how it all played out. So you know how, like, I'm assuming everybody does this, when you're about to, like, go into a, like, meaningful conversation, or there's something coming up where you have to talk to somebody, and you, like, not where you're, like, reading a speech or something like that, but you, like, pre-write it in your head. You're like, I want to say this, and I'm going to say this, and I got to make sure I cover this, and you're just repeating it to yourself over and over and over again, and you're, like, tweaking it and making it sound good, and just, like, trying to come up with the perfect words for whatever situation you're about to go into. That was kind of where my mind was going into this situation. We have a convention here in Kansas City, really close to where I live, called NakaCon. It's basically like a Japanese culture kind of convention. They focus a lot on, like, anime and that kind of stuff. And I like to go because I tend to look for, like, you know, retro video games, JRPGs, and that kind of stuff. And for a while, I would look for, like, new anime to watch and everything. Now that I have subscription to, like, Funimation and everything, I don't really buy much of that anymore because I can just watch it on there. And Crunchyroll, I guess. So this year, though, I was, like, just over the moon excited. This was, like, I think day 3. They do it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and this was on, I think, that Sunday. And he was having an autograph session. I'd already been to, like, every other, like, Q&A that he had done, and, like, I was so stoked when he said that his favorite project that he worked on was Final Fantasy VI, and I was, like, doing a little dance inside my own head, going, like, that's my favorite one! And so I was totally and completely, like, just in love with hearing him talk about you know, these ideas and these games and his experience creating these masterpieces. And so, when I was waiting in line, and, well, leading up to it, you know, all the way up, I was literally, in my head, I was like, I gotta make sure I tell him that, you know, growing up, it meant so much to me because these games, like, no matter how bad of a day I had, week, month, whatever, I could always play those games and that music would be there, and that music would just bring me into those worlds because it was so impactful. It made me feel so good. And I just want to tell him that, like, literally, you know, he helped mold who I am today just because I was able to connect with these pieces of art back then, and it was awesome through his music. And so I remember everything about that day, like everything, especially leading right up to it. I can tell you that when I was waiting in line, there was a really funny thing that happened, little side thing, where this girl was there who had it's a convention, and it's an anime convention, so there's a lot of people in cosplay and stuff. There was a girl who was just like, she had like a green skirt on with like a pink top and like ribbons in her hair, and like, I mean, she looked fine. She looked, you know, nothing crazy or anything like that. But this guy who was standing right next to me looks at her, and he was like, "So who are you cosplaying as?" And she just turns and looks at him straight face and just goes, "I'm not." And like, it took everything I had not to just bust out laughing. I didn't think she was either, but he apparently did because of the way she was dressed. And like, the look on his face, like, it just turned white. He didn't say a word, and it was just really funny, and I still remember that moment to this day. Cracked me up. So, anyways, waiting in line, get up there, and I've got my CD because I had already bought it, and I was going to have him sign it and everything, and he's sitting up at a table, and he's got a translator next to him for people that go up and, you know, give him feedback, comments, and, you know, to give him the same speech that I was probably giving in my head and everything. And so I'm like sitting there repeating it to myself over and over again. It's like, I gotta make sure I tell him this, and I have to make sure I have to like go over this, and I hope I'm not up there too long, and I don't want to like make him mad by taking too much time, but he has to know how much his stuff means to me, and oh my god, and I'm like just racking my brain, going crazy inside my head, just wanting to tell my hero that I love him so much, and it's just so crazy. And like, so I finally get up to the front of the line, and like I said, I remember this beat by beat. I can tell you the whole speech that I gave him still to this day. Like, if you'll permit me, here is exactly what happened. I walk up, stand in front of him, and the translator's sitting there, and he's looking at me, and I put my CD down in front of him, and I look at him, and I got my whole speech ready, and I look and I say, "Thank you so much!" And I shook his hand and I walked away. That's what happened. I was so starstruck that I just... Yep. And I was loud too. It was really, really awkward. And he laughed. I think he knew, like, I think he could see it on my face, like, this guy, like, genuinely feels things for my music and, like, is trying to convey that in the worst way possible. I was so embarrassed when I actually had time to process what had just happened, because I was like super stoked that I got to shake his hand and get his autograph and everything, and I guess technically I did thank him, but just the fact that I had this whole spiel in my head for weeks leading up to this about what I wanted to say, it all just amounted to me like losing my shit and just completely just getting starstruck and just having that happen. It was, yeah. So it cracks me up to this day. I'm still a little embarrassed about it, but more so like just because it's so funny the way it worked out, and I got the autograph, got to shake his hand, and like I said, technically thank him. But I always thought that was a funny story, and I may have mentioned it on a podcast or something at some point, but I thought it'd be neat to share that with everybody. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know the drill, it's YouTube. I am closing in on 500 subs. If I get there, I will do a whole video series on my top 100 games of all time. I've already started making a list, so hopefully I can do that. It's my own fault because I know I've been slacking on videos lately. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this little goofy story about how I embarrassed myself in front of one of my heroes. And yeah, so again, thanks for watching, and as always, keep on gaming.